Well, the form of this translation we spoke about is going to be a lecture, because I'm having two events, and with the organizer of this of this marathon, we decided to combine these two events, because on the other hand, I have my life going on, and by the way, I just my life slowed down a little bit. Anyway, it needs to continue because I still have my duties, just like everybody of you, every one of you. If you have your duties, please try to fulfill them in your family, your work, or somewhere else. Probably you have some responsibilities. So please try to fulfill them. If especially if there's no way to cancel them. So anyway, our marathon is extensible. We can prolong it. So same for me. I'm following this principle of duties, and we are having the lecture of Srimad-Bhagavatam, 7th canto, second lecture. This morning we had the first one, and then I will have two more. I will think I will use the other time. So probably this part of reading of Srimad-Bhagavatam, and between them I will try to squeeze two more lectures. Because we have some order from ministry, because they are testing our way of life in our ashram. They are checking if we live in a proper way, in a very clean way. Because we are trying to spread this knowledge, serving our spiritual master and teaching and of course we thought no one would be against if we organize these lectures online. I hope you don't mind this. So during this meeting, we're not going to answer questions, as this morning we answered the questions, but not this time. But maybe we will leave like 15 minutes for answering some questions. Then I will ask our technical assistant or director to switch off the main channel, and maybe on the local channel we will try to answer a few questions. Otherwise, then we will turn off, and tomorrow I will get back to this form of answers, questions and answers. So please don't be surprised for my clothes changing here, because I still have some recommendations, some obligations, my life, which inspires me to maintain these my principles. Anyway, I think this will be good for everybody, for this marathon, to become more concentrated, deepen it. If somehow you have questions, because we are going to develop this theme in some other mood than we usually do. Then afterwards, maybe tomorrow, you can ask these questions. So everything is good. Thank you. Let's begin. We will start with auspicious prayers. Also, we will thank all the organizers of this retreat of Srimad-Bhagavatam. and the candidates for sannyasa. Let's thank them. We need to thank them because they make a big participation of developing, of spreading it, and also His Grace Radha Sundara Prabhu, because he organized this form of marathon, which involves so many devotees and well-wishers to read Srimad-Bhagavatam, to dive into this book.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Pancha Tattva ki jai, Prahlad Nrisimhadev Bhagavan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Yugat Dharma Harinam Sankirtana Yagya ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chiva Narotama Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
So we continue our studying of the 7th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Chapter 10, Prahlad, the best amongst the elevated people. But I need to make a small review from the 8th chapter. Based on the text that we finished, the verses we finished, where Prahlad Maharaj begins, he started his prayers to Lord Narasimhadev, because it happened when Lord Brahma asked him to calm down Lord Narasimhadev, to pacify him, because nobody could could manage it, because he was being in such a burning state. And the Prahlad Maharaj, as a well-educated devotee, he takes these instructions of Lord Brahma. He wasn't afraid of anything, because he was dived into his thoughts about his Lord, the object of his love. And this is how he's seeing him, and he's approaching Lord Nrsimhadev. So what he's doing, Prahlad Maharaj, after he explained who he was. Who am I? I'm sorry. Who am I to try to after such elevated persons who try to pacify him, and they didn't manage. And then Prahlad Maharaj says that a person can have so many positions. Probably he can be a brahmana, well-educated, a very renounced person. But somehow Lord cannot be satisfied by him. He may not be satisfied, because Lord can be satisfied and pleased only with the devotional service. When a soul is engaged in this devotional service, then it pleases him. Otherwise, all these isms are not enough, because there are so many yogis, so many renounced persons, and they cannot satisfy him. And Prahlad Maharaj is a living example that brahmanas situated are lower than devotees. Devotees that who were born in dog eaters families, and this is why they are dearer to the Lord than brahmanas, because they can be brahmanas, they fulfill all their duties, but they cannot help themselves, as says Prahlad Maharaj, comparing to a devotee from a dog eater family, because he can free his whole family from this circle of birth and death. And this circle is not good for a soul. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying that he is actually not sorry for his family that he's from, because everybody can listen to the actions and activities of the Lord and can be purified. His heart can be purified, and this person can become very elevated. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying he's not sorry about his demon family. And he's saying that Nrsimhadev came to the earth as a protector of his devotees. And as soon as you came to protect the devotees, see, look, you protected me, and you killed my father. So now you can be pacified. Your mission is fulfilled. And when trying to pacify Nrsimhadev, Prahlad saying, "I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not terrified from your terrifying look, because I can see only the beauty in you. Because you can take any form you like. You're free to take any form. How can I be? How can I have terrified from you? Devotee cannot be terrified when he's seeing his Lord." And also Prahlad is saying that because of his past sins, he received this family. Probably his very mischievous acts made his destiny made him to be born in this demoniac family. And in other words, Prahlad Maharaj is actually preaching right now, just saying, like, you see, you can be an auspicious person, but somehow or other I committed sins. Same thing happened to Bharata. when Maharaja Rahugani is giving knowledge, he's saying that somewhere, probably somewhere in my past acts, I had some sins, but when I used to be a king. I missed something to get to get free from this material world. Probably I did something wrong if I got so attached to this deer. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying the same thing right here. Probably I did some committed some sins to be born in this demoniac family. And also Prahlad Maharaj saying, this material world is so weird that there will always be some problems, and there will always be people looking for resolutions for these problems, and these resolutions are bringing even more problems than the problems themselves. What a wonderful wonderful conclusion he's making. So you see, we are trying to resolve the problem, and everything turns out even worse situation. It's even worse than the during the resolutions, resoluting these problems. This is this peculiar and even horrible world. It's like a fly is getting into the net. She thinks that she can get free herself if she's doing something, but actually it makes even worse. So what is the resolution? Is the devotional service. We also know that the devotional service is the main our weapon from Maya, from this degradation. Because when a person serves devotees, he purifies himself from material gunas. When Saint Prahlad is saying that when serving, we are free from gunas, and also this our identification with this material body prevails us from the from God's care, from our Lord's care. What do you mean care? It means we cannot get free from this world, from this it's like free ourselves from this slavery. And when the mind cover our soul, and we by this means we are deprived from Lord's mercy, because Lord at the Perlan, he helps us and he realizes our desires. So when mind when it's attached to its material desires, and this material body appears, and we start to identify ourselves, and by this means we are deprived from the Lord's mercy, and in other words, we get into this trap because of ourselves. And Prahlad Maharaj, he said that he was following the same path, and he was trapped like in a hole with full of the snakes. It's like our desires that attack us like the snakes. And he's so happy, and that he saw him when he met this pure devotee Narada Muni. And how can I not serve him? Because now he's like spiritual master, and the spiritual master is the key personality of our life. We need to dedicate our life to him, because he can save us from this trap. And because we were going on our way, and we were about to fall down into the trap, and the master, he saved us from falling down. And this is our mission, is to serve a devotee and the spiritual master. By this means we will serve the Lord. And then as follows Prahlad Maharaj, he says he's trying to he keeps pronouncing his prayers, and then after pacifying Nasimhadev, he's giving some benedictions. He's talking about some material benedictions. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying, why? I already have everything. I'm already fighting with all these things. It's like you're making an exam for me. I already had my father, the most powerful, the most famous. And on this material level, he was the best one. And now you're advising something material again. And then, so Prahlad Maharaj is saying, no, this is not what I want. And he's asking Lord Narasimhadev to purify his heart from material bondage. Because these material desires, they are the real reason of this weight, that is anchoring the soul in this material world. And this is the reason why the soul cannot get out of this misery. And he's asking to free his heart from this material contamination. We also need to realize that this is the most precious thing for us as well. This is what we should ask. Now we need to read the verse, the very verse that we were supposed to read, and we just had some review about the last chapter. Yes, the review of the Prahlad Maharaj prayers. So, 10th chapter, verse 8. Indriyani manaha prana atma dharmo dhritir matihi hari shristejah smritih satyam yasya nashyanti janmana. Translation. O my Lord, because of lusty desires, from the very beginning of one's birth, the functions of one's senses, mind, life, body, religion, patience, intelligence, shyness, opulence, strength, memory, and truthfulness are vanquished. Such a powerful lust that destroys everything, vanquishes everything. So commentary purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Kamam Harid Rogam. Materialistic life means that one is afflicted by a formidable disease called lusty desire. Liberation means freedom from lusty desires, because it is only due to such desires that one must accept repeated birth and death. As long as one's lusty desires are unfulfilled, one must take birth after birth to fulfill them. Because of material desires, therefore, one performs various types of activities and receives various types of bodies to try to fulfill desires that are never satisfied. The only remedy is to take to devotional service, which begins when one is free from all material desires. Anya Bilashita Sunyam. Anya Bilashita means material desire, and Shunyam means free from. The spiritual soul has spiritual activities and spiritual desires, as described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mama Janmani Janmanishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahaituki Tvai. Unalloyed devotion to the service of the Lord is the only spiritual desire. To fulfill this spiritual desire, however, one must be free from all material desires. Desirelessness means freedom from material desires. This is This is described by Srila Rupa Goswami as anyabhilasita shunyam. As soon as one has material desires, one loses his spiritual identity. When all the paraphernalia of one's life, including one's senses, body, religion, patience, and intelligence, are deviated from one's original Krishna consciousness, as soon as one has material desires, one cannot properly use his senses, intelligence, mind, and so on for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mayavadi philosophers want to become impersonal, senseless, and mindless. But that is not possible. The living entity must be living, always existing with desires, ambitions, and so on. These should be purified, however, so that one can desire spiritually and be spiritually ambitious without material contamination. In every living entity, these propensities exist because he is a living entity. When materially contaminated, however, one is put into the hands of material misery. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. If one wants to stop repeated birth and death, one must take to devotion to the devotional service of the Lord. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all the senses. When the Spirit Soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and simply by being employed in the service of the Lord, one's senses are purified. The end of purport.
Om Agyana Timiranda Syaginanjana Shlakaya Chakshurun Litamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitamina Bhutale Svayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhivcha Kripasinhu Bhyovacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtya Desha Tarine. Шрила Прабхупада Ки Джай. Еще раз стих.
One more time the verse. Indriyani manah prana atma dharmo dhrichir mati Shri stejas smriti satyam yasya nashyanti janmana. O my Lord, because of lusty desires from the very beginning of one's birth, the functions of one's senses, mind, life, body, religion, patience, intelligence, shyness, opulence, strength, memory, and truthfulness are vanquished. So the lust is the main enemy. This is the same saying Krishna to Arjuna when Arjuna is asking, what is this power? Yes, this is actually this very power, the lust as a all endeavoring that vanquishes everything. From the beginning of the birth, it presented with us. It is. And as soon as we remain small, we cannot feel the power, the full power of the lust. Moreover, a person, after living his whole life, he may not feel the whole power of lust before he turns on his spiritual path, before he meets his spiritual master or some purified personality. These three points that cannot can show us what are the main obstacles in spiritual life. Ourselves, we cannot identify them. Just like a person, a child coming to the school, taking the alphabet, he cannot understand what all this means. It's like before a teacher comes and explains this is A, B, C. Same for us when we get on the spiritual path, we cannot recognize all the enemies. We need to meet a realized person who will explain who is the enemy. We probably sometimes we preach to people on the street or giving some classes to others, and people are saying, what is the principle of your life actually? And we're saying, well, we're trying to maintain pure way of life. What do you mean by pure life? We don't take any meat, fish or eggs. And people like surprised, astonished, saying, "What do you mean you don't eat them?" People just cannot. They just don't know that these are the enemies as well. And you are trying to explain that this deadly food, it destroys our consciousness. And when you explain, people try to realize something. And then when we are saying that we don't take any intoxications, no tobacco, no caffeine, what do you mean but not taking coffee? They're so surprised. We don't do any gambling. Why are they saying? Because your character gets worse of that. So the people just don't know that these are the enemies. We also don't get into any sexual relationship. We need to explain that these activities, they just make people dumb. And when we talk about the things to people, they don't realize that these are the enemies as well. And even after getting on the spiritual path, people anyway they can feel the power and the pushy power of this enemy. We can observe this on us and on people that know they start their spiritual path. That we all remain with this lust, and this will remain till the end of life. And also Srila Prabhupada is saying why he's not bothered by the lust, because he doesn't have time for that. He's always engaged in the devotional service, in preaching. Sometimes in ashramas, grihastas are saying like that you brahmacharis, you keep saying that we cannot have any sexual relationship, but how can you just saying this, because you just don't have any object of your desires close to you. This is not an object actually. Object can remain, but what is the reason that why a devotee cannot get through with this object, with the problem? Probably the waste of time. Because when a person is always engaged with the preaching, there is no waste of time then, and then the lust would never bother him. And moreover, this lust can be transformed into the preaching. It's like during this preaching, a person feels like satisfaction, happiness. This is the function of this very lust. it requires some transformation. If a person always engaged in devotional service, he feels the happiness, then the lust would never bother him. He's happy of having this potency. He's giving back this potency to Krishna. We just need to know how to use it in a proper way. We will always have this material lust. It's already there. Then what we are doing, we just take this energy, we giving it back to its owner, because only the owner can deal with it. Just Arjuna, this is what he did. He just turned upwards his consciousness to his enemies, and he started killing them. He started fulfilling desires of Krishna. And the same energy of lust was given back to Krishna. How? By his engaging Arjuna and satisfying desires of Krishna. And the same way we can get out from this material world. We just need to give back our potencies and energies to God. If we don't have to do this, if we don't do this, the lust will kill everything. It vanquishes everything, starting from senses. Senses, we cannot just get rid of them. They will remain with us. But when they are not engaged in the service to the Lord of the senses, what happens then? We just vanquish them. Senses become useless. They become even mischievous and even bad for us, because they will remain the senses. Just like the soul, senses are always are also eternal. We have this proverb, something that vanquishes the soul. Vanquishes means nothing can kill the soul, but vanquishes means that when the soul is not engaged in the proper activities, because it's the goal of the soul, the nature of the soul is to serve the Supreme Soul. Then the soul is going into sleep. Then goes mind. How mind is vanquished? We cannot stop the mind's activities just like that, brutally. It should be engaged. Krishna doesn't say, Arjuna, you should kill your mind. You should get rid of your mind. Or probably you should just switch it off. No, he's saying you need to conquer it. You need to engage him and make him your friend. Not your enemy, but your friend. How shall we do that? Always think about me. Engage of the constant thinking of me. Always think of me. Speak about me. Worship me. Do something for me. Do austerities for me. Serve me. There is such a variety of activities for the Lord, and when we engage in these activities, the mind becomes our friend. At the beginning, mind is like trying to escape, because he's like engaged in material activities. He deepened into this reality. He actually created this very body, psychophysical conglomerate, and when you say just get rid of it, no, the mind is saying no, thank you. I don't know what kind of pleasures I'm going to have. But here, actually, in this, I know what are the pleasures. I know how to please tongue, nose, ears. He has this memory of the pleasures, and he refuses to say goodbye to that. But what should devotee do? He needs to ask for the help of realized people, find the association of the devotees, and Just put your hands off, and you just um, like at the war, for example. It can happen that sometimes we just render ourselves in order to conquer. Sometimes we need to render. You should make one step behind to do two steps afterwards, two steps front. Okay, mind. Let's try how we shall act. How can I surrender myself to Krishna? What is my nature? No, don't try to think like that. Just surrender yourself. Render yourself to the devotees and ask Krishna to engage myself into devotional service. He may not be very glad might at the beginning, but he will anyways. He will do that. It's like a smoking person. When he smokes for the first time, he's very sick. You know about what I mean. It's so disgusting. It makes you cough, and your head is not well. Your mind is saying like, how can I get any pleasure from this? But the person cannot abandon smoking because his surroundings, he's like pushing him through. He's like motivating him. Then just be like a grown up. Keep smoking. Like keep going with us. Then the person, he believes in it. He surrenders himself in a way. And then in some time, he cannot feel any all these bad symptoms. Why? Because the mind, he realized that the person would never stop. And the mind, he doesn't want to suffer, and he starts changing and transforming himself, and he's enjoying this smoke of cigarette. And probably when so the same for the spiritual life, we need to get the help and then encouragement of devotees. That he will repeat us that keep going, you're on the spiritual path already. This is such a great activity. Oh, you will manage. So we get inspired from this strength of these people, strength coming from the people. And then sometimes mind is like realizing, okay, we're not going back to material life. What is the reason to suffer from the austerities, or suffer from studying of these spiritual scriptures? Probably I should, the mind is saying, probably I should give up, and then he somehow mind he starts to enjoy himself, because and he's not giving up, and because he got the taste from the association with devotees, and this kind of method we should use. Then we will not vanquish the mind. He will be engaged. He will be saved. So then next goes life, body. It can be combined. If Krishna if we give life to Krishna, then we are alive, revived. If it's not the case, we're already dead. And trying to make this life happy is so useless. Useless as Bharata Maharaj, he's comparing to Rahugana king. Why are you trying to? You're fighting for the for this dead horse. It's not gonna stand up. The same for us. We're trying to transform this body to make it happy, but it's a useless body. It's no use to make it happy. It's not going to be happy because it's already dead. It can only be used in devotional service, and this life should be given to God. And then last would never be able to vanquish our life. It will be will be switched. Same for the last. If we switch and direct it to Krishna, it can be transformed. Then opulence, memory, religion. Everything can be transformed. All the opulence, piety that we get, we don't use it for the sense gratification. We're trying to give it to Krishna. We then the last will start this mechanism that will help us to how to understand the shastras in a better way, how to see Vaishnavas as a pure devotees, and realize our spiritual masters' instructions. This is how it works, our piety, engaged in devotional service, and when it's given to Krishna. Patience, intelligence, shyness, opulence, strength, memory, all these qualities can be should be used in devotional service by the very intelligent devotee. No use to go through which quality separately. A devotee can always find an antipode for the opposite for the good one. So it's very important. Not stop wasting our life. Stop looking for mundane pleasures, because otherwise lust enters when we're not engaged, and we can have some. This can give birth to some questions. Well, yes, sometimes probably I am engaged in some devotional service to Krishna, just in kind of. But why do we have some doubts? If we have doubts, well, this means that some part of my activities are still engaged in my sense gratification. Because on the other hand, a devotee who is fully engaged in preaching, devotional service in his mission, he has no doubts. As the mind, he has this quality, doubting. He can doubt. Spiritual mind has no doubts, because intelligence, yes. Because Krishna saying he says that I will give you the intelligence. Don't waste your time. Keep preaching. That's why a self-realized devotee, he should never have this kind of doubts. He cannot have any doubts, because he always relies on Krishna. Doubts are very dangerous. Huh? No, there is no waste of time. When I'm losing time, I'm so confirmed in my intentions. I know what I'm doing. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying that there is this trap that can vanquish all our existence here, but it can happen only when we use this lust for enjoying this body. This is why devotees should be very careful and always trying to put to fill himself with spiritual energy and maintain his sadhana bhakti. Keeping activities, doing activities to maintain our spiritual life. If it's difficult for us to maintain sadhana bhakti, we should be happy with that, because when devotee thinks, oh, it's easy, actually, I can do it, or maybe not, this is the very danger. Then lust is approaching us and is about to vanquish our life. Having some difficulties is very good, is always very good. There will be one day when a person is purified, he doesn't see any difficulties or not difficulties. So when a person put in some effort in his sadhana bhakti, is very good, means that he's engaged in something. There will be no waste of time, and then Krishna will engage our senses. Narasimhadev, he came to take off these difficulties. He didn't come to save to protect only Prahlad Maharaj. He came for every one of us, for each of us. Why everybody was so afraid of him? No, they were not afraid of him. The demoniac nature was afraid of him. It is so subtle and hidden inside, because which means we still have some kind of desire to enjoy our senses. But how what do you say? You will say, because how can Lord Brahma can be afraid? How can we understand that the Lord Brahma is punished? Because he's having a body. Having a body means there will be karma. And the Brahma saying himself that I'm still a materialist because I'm remaining in this material world. Of course, I'm serving the Lord, but as long as I have this body, probably I'm punished for something. So this very thing gives us fear of losing some control, the fame. So everybody was afraid a little bit, which means there was something to lose. And Prahlad Maharaj, he wasn't afraid because he gave everything. He surrendered himself. And same for Lord Shiva, he wasn't afraid. Well, why he wasn't afraid? He was transcendental, first of all, and also because he himself is made of anger of Lord Brahma, and same energy was presented in Narasimhadev, and he was feeling the same bhava, same energy, same mood, and he was happy actually. And he wasn't trying to pacify the Lord because he had the same bhava. He knew that Prahlad Maharaj, he was to do that. And he's transcendental, he knows the best, the future and everything. He was just participating in his lila. And as for us, if we're still afraid, we still have something to be freed from. And we're asking, and we're praying Lord Narasimhadev to come and just vanquish those demons. But normally we ask to help us in with that field in our life. But we should ask Narasimhadev to protect us and to be a protector from this demoniac nature entering in our heart. Because as soon as it enters, it can vanquish our life immediately. So, Lord Narasimhadev, the protector of living beings, of bhakti, of devotional service, he vanquishes all the obstacles on the spiritual path, and devotees should believe that, and not just worshipping him as a beautiful manifestation of the Lord, but as a protector of devotees in devotional service. So, to make a conclusion, Prahlad Maharaj is saying his prayers, unusual prayers. These prayers are the guidance for us, direct guidance, how to surrender to the Lord. He also describes everything is necessary for this devotional service to the Lord. The obstacles, the advantages, the fame of the devotees, and is describing his position and the greatness of his Lord Narasimhadev. And these prayers should be learned by us. We should penetrate in the very sense of his speech of the Prahlad Maharaj. And Narasimhadev is specified now, and the Prahlad is advising, and he's saying to Prahlad, I'm already pacified. You can ask anything, in this world. And he's like suggesting some material wealth, and Prahlad is saying, no, I already have problems with that. I'm having it like everything, and I don't need this anymore. Why do I have this so many wealth? Probably because I still have this dust in my heart. Please purify my heart and purify my heart from this. And this is what he's asking Prahlad, to purify his heart from material dust. So thank you everybody for this lecture.
Шила Прабхупада ки джай,
Vrinda ki
Ананта
jai.
Коти Вайшнава Вринда ки джай, Грантара Шримад-Бхагаватам ки джай, Нитай Гора Премананды, Хари Бол. Так, мы можем сейчас перейти.
So maybe we can switch to the other channel. There are no questions, huh? Maybe they can appear right now, questions. Let's see. Let's wait a little bit. Let's dedicate some time for it. Even one question is very good. Anyway, let's just try again and try to understand the sense of our essential entering over our spiritual life. 5-10 years, it's actually the very beginning, and this beginning should be very inspiring. We should feel our small victories because they give enthusiasm for acting, continuing. But with no mercy of the Lord, we cannot feel them. Otherwise, we can think that this belongs to us, and this will make us fall. So we ask to Narasimhadev, but anyway, it doesn't even matter which religion we belong to. We always need to rely on the Lord and His representatives, and then we will not own these victories. Because having these that's why Krishna is saying that he thinks that this knowledge is a perfect knowledge, perfect religion, because it gives us the knowledge of ourselves, and but this is why we need these small victories. But we need to ask Lord Narasimhadev to liberate us from the pride. We shouldn't should think that these victories belong to us, but the results, they always belong to the Lord. So we should be happy about that and to thank the Lord, to express our gratitude to the Lord. So we have one question here. Chaitanya Rasa Mataji. How can I vanquish the seeds of material desires? You need yagya. They need to be burned. How? You see how they burn the soil so that no bad grass can grow. No, this should be the fire of our mind, intelligence, from our spiritual potency. This will burn all the seeds, and the devotional service can burn anything useless. Just receive the taste from devotional service, and this very taste is this very fire that will burn these desires. And Krishna will protect, and he same himself, Krishna. Don't be afraid, just surrender to me, and I will burn all your desires. Just leave all the religions, all these duties and everything. Just rely on me, and I will protect you from all the results of your sins. What are these? What are these desires? These are the results from our sins. It's like I don't want something, but somehow it appears these desires, and these sins are like the fertilizer from our previous lives. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, why I cannot handle with this with these desires, because the previous sins they make me to commit these sinful activities today. And Krishna is saying, just rely on me, and I will protect you from all the results of your sins. And there is one more thing: they should be transformed into spiritual ones. If it's not transforming, Krishna will burn it himself. What is very important is not to fertilize the soil with the material desires. Otherwise, they will grow up. If you don't fertilize, they may not touch ourselves. They may not bother. Just don't get into the contact of the objects which will awaken with these waves of our desires. If you're a man, don't look at a woman, otherwise you can handle it. If you're a woman, don't look at men. If you still identify yourself with the body, then look at a man. When you feel yourself as a soul, then you can look at a man, because then you will not going to have any desire in your mind. But if somehow you feel some desires are about to spread, just don't get into the contact. Protect yourself. Don't get into touch with the objects. And engage yourself entirely in devotional service. Then all these desires will never get any fertilizer or water. They will just dry out. They will be burned. That's it. Camila is saying, how can I pray Lord Narasimhadev to purify my heart? How can I do that with no fear? You should see it yourself. How you're not afraid to go, and how can you inspire yourself to go and to this dentist? Probably there will be some painful acts, but how do you inspire yourself? You just need to think, what is going to happen if I don't take care of my teeth? This will inspire you. Otherwise I will suffer. I think I should go to the dentist. I know there will be an injection, so I will go. Same for here. You should pray to Narasimhadev. If I don't pray to the Lord Narasimhadev, I will receive again and again the birth. Remember what Kapila Muni is saying to Devahuti about wonders of the soul. Read it often. You will get more enthusiasm. Yes, Lord Narasimhadev, I'm ready. Please, you're so merciful. Please make an injection to me. He's so merciful. He's not an enemy. He's not mean. He's so kind. He's the most kind. He's the best friend of all living entities. Rely on him, please. Then you will succeed. Don't worry. There was this devotee, Mataji. Probably she's devoted 20-25 years. She was opening her heart to me, and she was saying, Krishna, please, when the time comes for my death, please kill me softly, gently. She's praying, and she's actually persuaded that he's fulfilling all the desires, because she's saying, I'm a woman, I'm so afraid of pain, please do it softly and gently. That's why Krishna, he will fulfill her desire. But you need to become a devotee. She is a devotee. She does so much for our movement, for all living beings, for everybody. She's saving so many people. She's preaching. She has this right to ask. But if you're lying, eating, and not doing anything, and say, okay, Krishna, can you arrange things so I can go to the spiritual world? Probably he will not even hear these prayers. These are relationship with the Lord, your relationship. Helena is asking, thank you very much for the lecture. Please, how can I help my son, 22 years, to make a right decision, right choice? His father is atheist. I'm in Krishna consciousness. My father, my son, he's respectful to me, but he's having doubts because of the father. Become a friend. You don't have much time for that because he's already 22, but you can try to become as a friend, his friend. When you're a friend, not just a mother, then you can enter his heart and inspire him. And don't be pushy. It's so late already. He's living this age when you can be pushy. You can only inspire him as a friend. And now he needs to realize himself in this society, and he needs to develop his own desire. Then you should become a friend. Find a devotee of the same age, maybe. A good devotee born in a devotee family. Already. So try to make them friends. Especially he will find a woman, his wife, and try to find, maybe his future wife can be a devotee. Try to find a woman for him. He will not go back. He can take from his father only things that make him courageous, but not the philosophy of the life, because he's an atheist. This philosophy should not enter into his ears, otherwise he will become an atheist. But as for mainly qualities, maybe he's not against your husband. He actually, this quality, this kindness, probably he can receive these qualities. And also you should be very inspiring for your son as for the man. Just find what are his qualities, Shudra, Kshatriya, but don't be very strict with him, don't be pushy. So most important to be inspiring, to find this personality who can become his friend, not a guru, but a well-wisher who can inspire. Older person, maybe 2, 3, 5 years, but most important to find a friend. So your son will see that somebody older and to see as inspiration and the example for him. You should show this kind of personality to him. Everything will be arranged in a proper way. So let's finish with on this point, because we're going to start reading very soon. So thank you very much for your questions. Chaitanya Rasa Mataji, Camila, thank you very much. See you in a few minutes.